Myself, I am Dr. Jntuh. In this class, I am going to discuss with the operating system services system called real-time operating system. These are all the topics now I am going to discuss. Before moving to the topic, this is the content which we are going to see now. Real-time system. What are all the types of real-time system? Operating system, interface, GUI, and CLI, operating system services, and system call. Moving to the first topic, real-time embedded system. Real-time embedded system are the most preferred form of computers. For example, we can say that the fixed time constraint is there in the real-time operating system. Here, the processing must be done with a defined constraint. If a system get failed, so this constraint will return the operation to the original form. This can be classified into two categories: hard time real system and soft time real system. For example, if the execution of time of a particular program is limited to 10 seconds, the hard time real system should complete the program within 10 seconds. It should not exceed the limit. It exceed the limit, the entire system can be crash within that particular application. Soft time real system on the application. If a user want to complete its application towards 10 seconds, he can capable of completing the time beyond that particular limit. No limitation will be there in the soft system. The next interface is GUI and CLI interface. The most common operating system interface are GUI and CLI interface, where CLI stands for command line interface or command interpreter. It allows the user to enter the commands directly into the operating system. Unlike the graphical user interface, does not represents any commands inside a system. Command line interface are implemented in the kernel. Sometimes it boots up the system and executes in the command argument. Coming to the GUI, it's a graphical user interface. Here, it is more friendly. It can be used and operated with the help of a mouse and a keyboard. Icons present here will represent different number of files, programs, and actions. Like that, it can be used in a different types of folders. So these are the examples of a CLI and GUI. CLI here, the user are typing the command to execute the function. For example, mkdir represents the make directory to display some of the commands inside a directory, and ls depicts the list of files that is available in the directory. Here, the windows, the pictorial representation and the user-friendly menus are there. We can either use it in the form of a touch argument. The next topic is operating system services. The operating system had variety number of services which provides the functionality of the users. The first function is user interface, program execution, input and output operation, file system manipulation, communication, error detection, accounting, resource allocation, protection, and security. User interface. Almost we know that user interface is the important which is used to connect between the user and the computer hardware. Here, two different types of interfaces are commonly used. One is CLI, command line interface. It is usually dealing with the text commands we should enter into the Unix or the Linux environment. Next one is batch interface is used. It is used to direct and manage those commands, enter in the file and to be get executed in the environment. Graphical user interface, as we know that it is a friendly manner, icons and menus, keyboards will display that particular application. So the next service is program execution. The system must be able to load the program into the memory and it is capable of run the program and produce the output. It may be in a normal manner or in a abnormal manner, which is indicating some of the errors in the file. Input output operation, which may require several input operation devices and output operation devices to execute the particular process. File system manipulation, which needs several files to read and write the files into the directories. We can easily create, delete a file, search a file, list a file. So these are some of the operations that are performed in the file system manipulation. So the next service is communication. Communication is nothing but a process that may be exchanged between the two computers. So this may be used by shared memory as well as message passing mechanism. Shared memory is nothing but we are going to share our data between the different types of system. Message passing is going to pass the mechanism from one user to other user with the handling of the previous messages. So the next services is error detection. It is possible to detect some of the errors while doing the program. So the OS is capable of detect some of the errors, and it has to make appropriate action to ensure and correct that particular errors while computing. So the next classification is accounting. So we can keep track of each user which are reside inside the system, in which progress they are using that particular computing resources. The resource allocation is the other important topic. When the multiple user and the multiple jobs are currently doing, so they will use both the multitasking and the multi-programming environment. So many of the resources allocated by the CPU will reside in the main memory, and it will be equally shared to the users depending upon the request and releasing of code. So the next mechanism is protection and security. Protection, it involves ensuring all the access to the system that is controlled in a resourced manner. Security will provide the unauthorized use of third party or invalid access items that is made by the unsecured person. So several precautions has to be made protecting all these information. So this is a diagram which explain all the operating systems: program execution, input and output operation, file system manipulation, communication, resource allocation, accounting, protection and security, error detection. So this is an operating system which will interconnect all these operating system services with the hardware with the help of a system call and a user interface. So the commonly used interface are CLI, GUI, and batch interface. So this is a parameter describes the Linux and Unix operating system, which has been evolved in the year of 1991 and 1969. Both will be our open source software depending upon the particular number of OS. Linux will be operated by using the kernel and the Unix will be operated by using the operating system. Both is provide the command line function. In addition to that, the command line function, Linux can also capable of performing the GUI along with the command line function. So the next topic is system calls. As we know that system calls, first one needs to understand the difference between the what is a kernel mode and what is a user mode. Kernel mode is nothing but whenever the code is going to be executed, it can access the memory, address and hardware resource anywhere in the system. Hence, the kernel mode is a very privileged and powerful mode. If a program inside a kernel mode get crashed, the entire system will get halted. While in the user mode, the CPU does not have any type of access permission to access the hardware resources. That means the system will be in a safe mode. Even if the program gets defaulted or if any crashes occur, the program inside the user mode will not affect the system. So this is a diagram which interface and services made by the system calls. Here, the source file is there. We are going to provide an interface between a process and the operating system by including how the system calls are going to be connect. For example, we can create a file, we can input a file, accept the input, close, wait, like that. Several conditions are declared in the system call. While moving to the system call, an important interface is used as API, that is application programming interface. It will having a set of functions and parameters to perform each and every task inside a system. Three most common APIs are Windows API, POSIX API, it is based on the Unix and the Linux operating system, and the Java API, which will eventually run on the Java virtual machine. API, which includes several functionalities to invoke the system calls. The main advantage of using the API is the portability feature. We can easily compile and run in an environment. It is very easy to use and it is simplified too. The system call interface will interrupt the function call and API will invoke the necessary system call. The system call has been depicted here. Here, the system call interface is using two different types of application. One is a user mode and another one is a kernel mode. Here, a user is trying to open an application with the help of a system call interface. It is being opened with the system call and return the particular call with that argument. This is how a system call interface will invoke into the intended system and it provides the operating system kernel to open the values and return the values to the again to the system call by using the open system call. So the next topic is types of system call: process control, file manipulation, device manipulation, information maintenance, communication, and protection. Moving to the first one, process control. As we know that OS is capable of running several programs, it may be stop the execution either in a normal mode or in an abnormal mode. Abnormal mode is nothing but we are saying that the program is having some debugging or errors. The process control can work under this following conditions, that is N, abort, load, create process, terminate process, get process, set process, wait for a time, wait event, signal event, allocate, and free memory. Types of system calls. Another type of system call is a file management. File management is responsible for creating a file, deleting a file, open a file, close a file, read a file, repositioning a file, getting the file attribute, and setting a file attribute. So the next system call is device management. It is responsible for controlling and coordinating all the resources inside the devices. It sends a request to a device and release the request from a device. Read and write operations, reposition, get attributes, set attributes. It can capable of logically attach or detach from a devices. The next type of system call is information maintenance. Information is purely nothing but transferring of information between a user program and operating system. The OS will keep all the information about its process and provides the system call. So this can be maintained in the form of a table. We can get a time or set a time. We can set a data, get a data. We can process a file, device attributes, and set a process of files. The next type of system call is communication. Communication is nothing but inter-process communication, which will take place between the system. So it is in the two form. One is message passing and another one is shared memory. Message passing uses a mailbox to pass the messages between the process, and the shared memory usually create and gain access inside a memory by other process. Communication can create and delete a communication, send or receive the information. It will transfer the status information like that. Protection, it provides a mechanism for controlling the access to the resources it is provided. It will provide certain permissions such as set permission, get permission. It will allow the user, interact with the users like that. The permissions will be denied by the users. These are the permission and the protections given by the program. So next we move to the system program. While coming to the system program, they are more convenient environment for the program development and execution too. File system management, status information, file modification. These are the main concept inside a system program. Moving to the file management, we can able to create, delete, copy, rename, print and dump. List of files will be available there in the file system. Status information, whenever we are going to create a file, at what time we are created and in which state we are created, how many number of memory spaces that is occupied by the file, and how many number of users that are required for creating that particular file. Like that, the basic information will be displayed in the status information. File modification we can do with the text editors. This programming languages, which type of programming languages which are supported by that particular files are, we can commonly execute with the compilers, assemblers, debuggers, and interpreters, such as for the different languages, C, C++, Java, and various languages. As per the program execution, we first load the program and execute the program for relocating the program into your memory. Absolute loaders will be there, relocatable loaders will be there, linkage editors and overlay loaders will be there in the program. Debugging of the system will be performed by the higher level languages, and the communication will be used by the more number of users. Next, we move to the initially, if we run the program, it will start the execution and moving the execution in a boot manner. It will boot the system, start up and terminate after providing the facility. So the main objective of this operating system design and implementation, it will define the goal. It will identify what is the type of hardware it is used, what is the type of a software system, what is the user goal requirement, whether it is convenient to use, convenient to learn, convenient to use it in a safe manner. Like that, it will describe the highest design level of a requirement. What is the system goal? The system goal is nothing but whether the particular system has been adapted to the particular environment, designed manually, implemented, whether it is capable of flexible in an environment, reliable, error-free and efficient mechanisms are there. What are the mechanisms for using the operating system design and the implementation, or how to use that particular mechanism, whether it is in a friendly manner or we have to insert any type of complex commands inside there. Moving to the implementation side, the main advantage of returning the higher level language, the code will be more higher and it will be more compact. It will be easy to understand and we can easily identify the errors and correct the errors. It is portable too. For example, we can say that MS-DOS, that is the important operating system. It is introduced in the year of 1970s. There they use the assembly languages for assembling the sequence number of signals. Hence, the Linux operating system is also used in C. It has provided the different types of languages. It is used by the Intel 86 version. The disadvantage of this particular operating system's higher level language is to reduce the speed and increase the storage requirements. Thank you.